Welcome to the Depth Dive. I'm glad we're tackling this topic today. You recently shared a really thought-provoking article about something called the reference interview.
That's right.
And in your notes, you mentioned something I think a lot of us feel that frustration, getting these powerful AI tools like Gemini or Claude, maybe ChatGPT, to give you exactly what you need, that precise, insightful result.
Yeah, it's a good common sticking point.
You've probably had that experience yourself, right? You type out what feels like a perfectly clear prompt, you hit enter, and, well, sometimes you just get this avalanche of really generic stuff, like a fire hose of data instead of that specific actionable nugget you were actually hoping for.
Exactly.
It's like having this incredibly brilliant assistant who just doesn't quite get what you're asking, and that can be, well, incredibly frustrating.
It absolutely is, and you've really hit on a core challenge in our current information landscape. It's fascinating, really.
Oh.
Well, what's truly fascinating here is how this cutting-edge technology, this AI, actually seems to amplify the need for, well, classic human intelligence practices, especially when it comes to finding information.
Okay, so the new tech makes the old skills more important. That sounds a bit counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But think about it. We've seen what the article calls this vertiginous sprint of information tech. It's moved at this breathtaking speed, from those basic keyword searches back in the day.
Oh, yeah, I remember those, hoping for the best.
Right. To today, where we're having actual dialogues with these incredibly sophisticated AI agents. But even with all this amazing power at our fingertips, we often still struggle. We struggle to sort of orient and guide these models to give us what we truly want.
Yeah, I can feel like you're just talking to a black box sometimes. A very smart black box, but still.
Precisely, even one powered by billions and billions of parameters. So it really begs the question, doesn't it? Are we asking our AI the right questions? Or are we just firing off a question and hoping it sticks?
That's the crux of it, yeah. We've got this super-powered co-pilot, this AI, but the instruction manual for really commanding it, for getting the best out of it, feels like it's, well, missing. But what if I told you? What if there's this ancient, well-tested activity, something from the world of librarianship, a field that spent centuries figuring out how to cut through ambiguity, avoid errors, ensure understanding? What if that could fundamentally transform how you interact with AI?
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
An ancient activity for modern tech.
Exactly. An activity designed precisely to bridge that communication gap we were just talking about. Our deep dive today is all about rediscovering something called the reference interview.
Ah, the reference interview. Okay.
And here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just for librarians anymore. We're going to show you how it's basically your secret weapon, your key to becoming a master AI prompt engineer, turning that sometimes frustrating AI agent into your own personal, highly effective reference librarian.
That's a powerful claim. And the article really backs this up. It makes a strong case that, instead of making these traditional skills obsolete, AI, kind of ironically, resuscitates them.
Yeah.
It amplifies their importance.
Right.
The principles of the reference interview are, as the source puts it, absolutely basilar-like, foundational for getting the most out of modern AI tools, whether it's Google Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever you're using. It's all about empowering the machine with human clarity, with human intention, transforming your experience from just guesswork
To precision.
Exactly.
Decision.
So our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear then. We're going to unpack how these timeless principles, which, traditionally were about human-to-human interaction, are not just relevant today, but actually indispensable for unlocking the full potential of your AI tools.
Think of it as a shortcut to being truly well-informed, turning your AI into that highly effective, insightful partner you've been looking for. Okay, let's unpack this. You've got these incredible tools right there, but how do you really make them work for you? It's definitely not just about typing a simple question and hoping for the best, is it?
Not at all. There's an art and a science to it, and librarians have been refining it for a very long time.
So maybe let's kick things off by tracing that incredible journey of information search, because I think that really sets the stage for why this reference interview thing is so vital right now.
Good idea. Context is key.
Think back, if you can, to the really early days of the internet. Those simple keyword boxes, right? You'd type a word, hit enter, and just while you just hoped some basic algorithm would spit back a list of vaguely relevant links.
It was often a shot in the dark, wasn't it? Just hoping for a match based on how pages were indexed. Very rudimentary.
Totally. That's where we started. But today, wow, we're in a completely different universe. We're actually dialoguing with AI agents. These things are fueled by incredibly sophisticated large language models. It really has been this rapid, almost vertiginous sprint, like the source says.
Vertiginous is a good word for it. From static web pages to these dynamic conversational interfaces that can generate entirely new content on the fly, it's a massive leap.
It is. But that speed, that sheer velocity of evolution, it brings its own challenges, right? Often quite subtle ones.
Absolutely, because despite these amazing tools, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, opening up almost infinite possibilities for accessing information, synthesizing it, even generating new stuff, the core problem kind of remains.
Which is?
We still need to know how to effectively orient them, how to guide these models to do what we really want them to do. Without that proper, precise guidance, even the most advanced AI can just wander off. It can generate broad, superficial stuff, or sometimes even completely irrelevant information.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that happen.
It's truly like having a super powerful car, capable of incredible speeds, amazing maneuvers, but if you don't know how to steer it properly toward your specific destination, well, the potential is huge. But so is the potential for just spinning your wheels and wasting a lot of effort.
Wasting time, wasting energy.
Yeah.
Right. And for some people, there's this almost knee-jerk reaction to powerful new tech like AI, this fear maybe,
Yeah.
that it's going to make all the old valuable skills obsolete or just useless. Replacement anxiety.
Exactly. But our source digs up this wonderfully sharp quote from Elizabeth Bram Dunn way back in 1988. This was when computerized sources were just starting to creep into libraries.
Okay, what did she say?
She observed, "It is important that we not be shy in the face of the incorporation of computerized sources into the routine of reference service. We should not regard the use of computerized sources as if it were a betrayal."
A betrayal. Wow, that's strong language even back then, isn't it? And that sentiment, it feels like it applies perfectly to AI today. Using AI isn't a betrayal of good information practices or critical thinking. It's actually a powerful enhancement. It's a new layer on top of those foundational human skills, giving us incredible leverage if we know how to use it right.
Precisely. This new frontier technology, far from making classic practices obsolete, actually, as we said, rescues them. It amplifies the need for one of the most fundamental, most nuanced skills in librarianship, the reference interview.
Okay.
It really highlights that while the tools themselves change dramatically, sometimes almost overnight, the fundamental human need remains constant. The need for well-structured, relevant, deeply understood information. The machine evolves, sure, but the human process of seeking knowledge efficiently, effectively, meaningfully, that hasn't really changed at its core.
So to really get a grip on how we can leverage this, you mentioned we need to understand a key difference, a distinction between two concepts: reference service and reference process. Can you break that down for us, maybe with an example that clicks, even if we're not librarians?
Yeah, definitely. Think of reference service as the concrete thing you see, the visible action of the professional. In a library, it's the librarian actually helping you find a book or answering your specific question right there and then. It's the direct, maybe singular interaction.
Got it. The direct help.
Right. But the reference process,
Yeah.
that's much broader. And crucially, it's often unseen. It's the entire user journey. It includes all those internal cognitive steps you go through before you even ask anyone for help. During the interaction, sure, but also afterwards.
So like the thinking before I even take a prompt.
Exactly. It includes that vague initial feeling of, I don't know something, the internal framing of your need, then the interaction itself, and finally your evaluation of the information you got. Understanding this whole journey, which is often iterative, looping back on itself. That's where we, as information strategists or even just everyday users interacting with AI, can intervene most effectively. It's about recognizing that your interaction with AI isn't just hitting enter on one prompt. It's a series of steps you take, consciously or unconsciously, to get from that initial vague need to a satisfying solution.
So the librarian traditionally has been this kind of amazing knowledge mediator then, guiding people through this huge, often confusing universe of information, helping them find answers they often don't even know how to ask for or can't quite put into words. Like an informational Sherpa, maybe?
That's a great analogy, an informational Sherpa. And at the absolute heart, the pillar of that entire reference process is the reference interview.
Okay, the interview itself.
Yes. It's defined as an interactive transaction. A conversation, basically, where the professional, through a series of thoughtful questions, tries to identify, clarify, and refine the topic of the user's query.
So digging deeper than the first question,
Exactly. It's not an interrogation. It's a collaborative dialogue. It's designed to uncover the real information need that's hiding beneath that initial, often vague request. And classic studies in librarianship, going back decades, have shown this again and again. A significant chunk, really, a worrying number of incorrect or inadequate answers, the ones that leave users unhappy. They stem directly from communication failures during this crucial initial chat.
Wow. So getting that first interaction wrong is a major source of error.
Huge. The user asks for X, but they actually needed Y, and the librarian or the system didn't manage to figure out they needed Y.
So what does this mean for us then, the everyday folks trying to get good stuff out of AI? It sounds like often our first question to Gemini or Claude is like a vague whisper in a really crowded room. It's not a clear, targeted command.
That's a perfect way to put it, a vague whisper.
But you're saying that's okay, because this next concept shows us how to turn that whisper into a really powerful instruction. I love the iceberg analogy you mentioned. Our initial question is often just the tiny tip sticking out of the water.
But there's this massive chunk of deeper, more complex informational need hidden underneath. It's what you think you want to ask, but maybe not what you actually need to know to solve your problem.
Indeed. The article really emphasizes that users frequently don't know how to express their needs precisely. Or, in more complex situations, they aren't even sure what information they're looking for to solve their underlying problem. They just know they have a problem.
Right.
This makes the interview, this dialogue, a decisive tool, especially for two key groups. First, those who kind of know what they need but struggle to articulate it in a way that leads to a good search. And second, maybe even more importantly, those who aren't even sure what information they need to solve their problem, they're just lost.
Okay.
For that second group, the article is blunt. The interview is indispensable. If you ignore this crucial negotiation phase, whether you're talking to a human or an AI, it leads directly to inefficient searches, getting swamped by generic data, and ultimately just frustration. It's a massive waste of your time, and frankly, the AI's computational resources too. And here's that paradox again. You mentioned William A. Katz, a big name in reference services, made this observation way back in 1978.
Yes, Katz, a giant in the field.
He said, paradoxically, the introduction of the machine into the reference process will force even the most reluctant reference librarian to act as a human interacting with another. And that feels incredibly relevant to us talking to AI today.
How so?
Well, the machine, because it's so literal, because it lacks that human intuition, it forces us to be more human in our prompts, more thoughtful. We have to guide the AI with a deeper understanding of its amazing abilities, sure, but also its limitations, its lack of real comprehension or empathy. We have to become the intelligent conversation partner.
That's a fantastic insight. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really means we're not just passive users of AI anymore. We're becoming its trainers, its co-pilots, its navigators. And the rise of these sophisticated AI tools like Gemini, especially with their deep research capabilities, it forces us to fundamentally rethink our relationship with search tools altogether. We're not just dealing with simple page indexers anymore, fetching documents based on keywords. These agents are synthesis engines.
Synthesis engines, I like that.
Yeah, they can process information, contextualize it, and crucially generate entirely new information, dialogically, through conversation. So in this new world, the AI can actually take on the role of the reference librarian. It conducts the interview through the prompts you provide, and it builds a sophisticated search strategy based on your input. The better we get at articulating our needs, the better, the more targeted, the more powerful our AI librarian will perform. It really is about empowering the machine with human clarity, human intention, human foresight.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. So these AI agents, especially the ones with, say, Gemini's deep research function, they can become our personal, highly customized reference librarian.
Potentially, yes.
We can move beyond just asking a simple one-off question. Instead, through structured prompts, we can refine our searches, adding layers of context, defining the scope, specifying facets of knowledge we need. This proactive approach helps us avoid those endless, frustrating loops where you just keep tweaking your prompt slightly, hoping you'll finally hit the magic combination.
Exactly. You stop guessing.
Librarianship, it turns out, offers the perfect, time-tested roadmap for this kind of precise, efficient interaction.
It really does. We can do so much more than just tell the model to do something. We can guide it, instruct it, we can interview it using this established knowledge from librarianship. This helps ensure that the search, right from that first carefully constructed prompt, comes out exactly how we need it. It saves your time. It saves computational resources. It's this remarkable fusion, really, of ancient human wisdom and bleeding-edge artificial intelligence, a true partnership.
Okay, so we get why the reference interview is so crucial and how that whole idea translates surprisingly well to the AI age. Now let's get into the how. This is where, for me, it gets really interesting.
The practical application.
Yeah. We're talking about using a framework that's been guiding human searches for decades, maybe longer, in libraries all over the world. And now we're going to directly adapt it to talk effectively to our AI. It comes from, of all people, Rudyard Kipling.
That's right, the author, Rudyard Kipling. In his poem, I Keep 6 Honest Serving Men, he famously wrote, I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who.
What, why, when, how, where, who, the classic questions.
Exactly. These 6 seemingly simple questions, when you apply them systematically, they form this incredibly robust and efficient framework for structuring any reference interview. And our source meticulously shows how they are directly adaptable for formulating deep, precise research strategies with AI.
So this is like our blueprint.
Think of it exactly like that, your practical, step-by-step blueprint for building a well-structured, superpowered prompt right from the get-go. It's your checklist to make sure you're covering all the bases for a comprehensive inquiry.
It's just fascinating to me how a concept from, 19th century poetry can be so directly useful for 21st century AI. Let's walk through each of these serving men. Let's see exactly how they build up this multi-layered, super-powered prompt. Maybe we can use a running example to see it actually come to life.
Great idea. A concrete example makes it much clearer. And just for clarity, our source actually uses Portuguese terms, so we'll give you the English translation and explain the concept behind each one.
Perfect. First up, we have 1. Okay. Okay. Defining the domain. This feels like the foundation, right? The starting point. What exactly are we asking the AI about?
Precisely. It's the absolute baseline. The objective here is simple. Clearly delimit the central topic of your query. Focus on determination and, crucially, disambiguation. Getting rid of ambiguity.
Okay.
In traditional librarianship, the professional would clarify terms, maybe grab a dictionary or paraphrase back to the user to confirm understanding like, okay, so what you're really looking for is X, not Y, correct?
Right. Making sure you're on the same page.
Exactly. For AI, you can achieve this same clarity by starting your prompt with a clear assignment of a role or a persona to the AI.
Assigning a role, like telling it who it should be.
Yes. For example, you might start your prompt with act as a senior researcher in molecular biology, or act as a travel agent specializing in Southeast Asia. This immediately primes the AI. It sets its lexicon, its expected depth of knowledge, even its response style. It basically tells the AI which mental hat to wear for this conversation.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. Setting the stage. What about ambiguous terms? Lots of words mean different things.
Good point. If your topic involves ambiguous terms, and many do, you must provide context directly in the prompt. For instance, if you just typed analyze manga, the AI wouldn't know if you meant the delicious tropical fruit.
Or the Japanese comic style.
Or maybe even a type of clothing sleeve. It has no way to know without context. You need to specify. Analyze manga, the fruit, Mangifera indica, focusing specifically on its nutritional properties, not the Japanese comic book genre or a part of a shirt.
Got it. Be explicit.
Be explicit. Now, you could technically start vague and then iterate with the AI to clarify. But the article strongly advises against that, especially for deep research. Why?
Why?
Because those iterative, back-and-forth, deep research cycles, they chew up more time, they use more computational resources, and ultimately, they have a bigger environmental footprint. Front-loading your clarity, being precise from the start, is just more efficient and more responsible.
That makes perfect sense. Be precise up front. It saves time and energy for everyone involved, including the AI. Okay, next up. 2. Por qué? Why? Defining purpose and context. This feels like a really big one. It's not just what we're asking about, but for what reason?
Oh, it's absolutely critical, yes. Understanding the finality, the ultimate purpose of the information you're seeking is paramount. It fundamentally shapes the relevance and the utility of the AI's response. Well, think about it. A single topic, say solar energy, can be approached in countless ways, depending on its ultimate use. The traditional librarian always asks about the purpose. Is this for a quick high school project? Is it for a peer-reviewed scientific article? Is it for making a critical business decision? Or is it just out of personal curiosity?
And the answer changes everything.
Completely. The answer to why fundamentally alters the entire search strategy, the depth required, the resources consulted, the nature of the desired output. For AI, you need to build this purpose directly and explicitly into your prompt. Don't make the AI guess. And doing this makes a noticeable difference in the output. It guides the AI on the right tone, the appropriate depth, even which facts it should prioritize.
Okay, let's use our manga example. How would adding the why change that prompt?
All right, so instead of just analyze manga the fruit, imagine transforming it by directly integrating the why. It becomes something like, okay, I need to conduct research for my 9th grade biology class. My classmates and I need to write a script for a video about all the uses of the manga fruit, Mangifera indica, in Brazilian cuisine. And please note, not the clothing part or Japanese comics.
Wow, okay. You can immediately see how that shifts the AI's whole approach, can't you?
Instantly.
It's no longer just spitting out random facts about mangoes. It's framing them specifically for a high school biology video, focusing tightly on culinary uses, and even hinting at a specific region.
Context is king.
Totally. The AI instantly gets the level needed, the angle to take, maybe even the tone required. It's not just raw information anymore. It's contextualized information. Okay, moving on to 3. Quem. Who? Defining the audience. Who is this information ultimately for?
This question is tied very closely to the why, isn't it? The who defines for whom the information is destined. And knowing the audience allows the AI to adjust the tone, the complexity of the language, the depth of the explanation.
Right. You wouldn't explain quantum physics the same way to a child as you would to a physics professor.
Exactly. A librarian would try to understand the user's knowledge level. Are they a total novice or an expert? And are they searching for themselves or maybe for someone else, like their boss or a client or maybe their kid? When you're prompting AI like Gemini, you need to explicitly state the target audience for the AI's output.
So how do we integrate that into our growing manga prompt?
We just add that layer. So the prompt now becomes, okay, listen up. I am a 9th grade student in Brazil, and I need your help to conduct research for my biology class. My classmates and I need to write a script for a video about all the uses of the manga fruit, Mangifera indica, in Brazilian cuisine again, not the clothing or comics. The script itself will be presented to our classmates.
Ah, okay. So that tells the AI to use language that's appropriate for a 9th grader and their peers.
Precisely. Avoid overly academic jargon. Maybe favor clearer, more engaging explanations. Make it suitable for that specific audience.
Fantastic. So now the AI knows what to talk about, why it matters, and who it's talking to. That brings us to number 4. Como. How. Defining the format. This sounds like it's about the output itself, right? Not just the content, but the actual packaging.
Exactly right. This question defines the packaging or the structure of the information. And the format of the output is often just as crucial as the content itself. It dictates the appropriate level of detail, the organization, the presentation style.
So what kind of output do I want? A list, an essay.
Precisely. A reference librarian would always ask, do you need a brief introduction? An exhaustive, deep dive search? Do you need bibliographical references included? Just summaries. Or do you need the full texts? When you're working with an AI model, you need to clearly tell it what kind of output you want. Do you need a bulleted list, a narrative essay, a comparison table, a draft script, a concise summary?
So for our manga example, since it's for a video script.
Right. We'd specify introductory research because it's for 9th graders, and we'd ask for the format to be suitable for a script. So the prompt evolves again. Okay, I'm a 9th grade student in Brazil, need help researching for my biology class. We need to write a video script about the uses of the manga fruit, Mangifera indica, in Brazilian cuisine. Need introductory research for this. This research will be the basis for creating the script that my classmates and I will present in class. Could you please structure your response as a preliminary outline for a video script? Maybe with suggested segments and key points for each section.
Okay, I see. You're not just getting raw data back now. You're getting it presented in a way that's immediately usable for the specific task. You're getting structure.
Exactly. It saves you a huge amount of formatting and structuring work later on.
This is really building layer upon layer, isn't it? Truly guiding the AI. Okay, we're almost there. Finally, we have 5, cuando, when, and 6, onde, where. Refining with constraints. And you mentioned these two are often grouped together for a reason. They sound like powerful filters.
Yes, exactly. They are grouped because they act as crucial filters. They can drastically narrow the search scope, and by doing that, they exponentially increase the relevance of the results. This saves significant time and effort. Think of them as the fine-tuning knobs.
Fine-tuning, like temporal constraints, location?
Temporal constraints, time periods, idiomatic constraints, language, and geographical restrictions, places. These are the final adjustments for your AI prompt, transforming a potentially broad search into a laser-focused inquiry. A traditional librarian would proactively ask about date limitations. Do you only want research from the last 5 years, or specific regions, or if you need sources only in a particular language?
And with Gemini or other AI, we just build these right into the prompt.
You integrate these limitations directly. So, for our final manga example, to make it absolutely perfectly tailored for Brazilian students working on their project, we would add these vital constraints right at the end. Limit the research to sources in Brazilian Portuguese, please. Make sure they are from Brazilian sources, and only look at things published between the years 2000 and 2025.
Okay, let's pause there. Think about the impact of adding those when and where constraints. It's huge, isn't it?
Oh, massive. If you just ask for uses of manga in cuisine without those filters, you might get information flooding in from India, Africa, Southeast Asia. You might get recipes from centuries ago, maybe all written in English.
Total information overload and mostly irrelevant.
Exactly. But by adding Brazilian cuisine, Brazilian sources, and Brazilian Portuguese, you instantly eliminate this vast ocean of irrelevant information. By specifying the date range, 2000 to 2025, you ensure the information is current, relevant to modern cooking, modern nutritional understanding, avoiding outdated stuff. This level of precision isn't just about getting an answer. It's about getting the most relevant, most useful answer possible, ideally on the very first try.
And there you have it, a perfectly constructed prompt using an age-old framework ready to feed into your AI's deep research function. Let me try and read that final version back, combining all of Kipling's serving men.
Go for it.
Okay. I am a ninth grade student in Brazil, and I need your help to conduct introductory research on the main uses of the manga fruit, Mangifera indica, in Brazilian cuisine. This research will be the basis for creating a script for a video that my classmates and I will present in our biology class. Please structure your response as a preliminary outline for a video script, with suggested segments and key points for each. Limit the research to sources in Brazilian Portuguese from Brazilian sources, and publish between the years 2000 and 2025.
Perfect. See how comprehensive that is?
It really is. You've just saved yourself so much time, so much mental energy wading through irrelevant results. And yes, as you pointed out, even environmental resources by being so incredibly precise from the outset.
This truly showcases the power of structured thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
By systematically going through each of Kipling's questions, you're not just tossing a casual request at the AI, you're providing it with a highly refined, multifaceted search brief.
A brief, yeah, that's a good word for it.
It significantly reduces ambiguity, it minimizes the AI's need to sort of guess what you really meant, and it dramatically increases the probability of getting a relevant, targeted response right on the first try, which, let's be honest, is what we all want.
Absolutely.
And it raises an important question, doesn't it? How many of us currently provide this level of detail to our AI without even consciously thinking through these steps?
Probably very few of us. I know I haven't always been this thorough.
Right. The answer, I suspect, is very few. But once you start adopting this kind of framework, the difference in the quality of your AI's output is, well, it's profound. It's immediately noticeable. And it really moves you from being just an AI user to being an AI orchestrator.
An orchestrator. I like that. You're conducting the AI, not just reacting to it. Okay, so we've really nailed the art of crafting that initial super prompt using Kipling's wisdom. That feels like a huge, potentially transformative step right there.
It really is foundational.
But our journey doesn't stop when we hit enter on that perfect prompt, right? Now let's kind of zoom out. Let's look at the whole hero's journey, if you will, of seeking information. And we can do this through the lens of Dennis Grogan. You mentioned he was a revered theorist in reference services.
That's right, Dennis Grogan. His work provides this wonderful, holistic map of the entire user journey, from that initial, really vague feeling of needing something, all the way to the final solution.
Okay.
And this is where we really understand the why behind what we just discussed with Kipling. It powerfully shows that research, especially with AI now, is almost always an iterative process. It's rarely just a one-shot deal. It's more like an adventure with multiple stages, maybe some backtracking involved.
And an adventure.
Uh-huh.
And Grogan's big insight hinges on that difference we touched on earlier between service, the librarian's specific action, and process, the user's longer journey.
Exactly. That distinction is key. The user's journey is often much longer, involving internal thoughts, external interactions, evaluation. It might require multiple rounds of interaction to get right. Understanding this whole user journey is absolutely crucial for navigating AI research effectively.
And Grogan had something specific to say about computers, didn't he? Even back then.
He did. Grogan famously noted that computers, precisely because they lack common sense, will only filter out things like incomprehensible work or maybe obsolete books if they are specifically instructed to do so.
Ah, they won't just know to ignore the old stuff or the bad stuff.
Exactly, which puts the onus, the responsibility, squarely back on us, the users. We have to provide that essential instruction, that guidance, throughout the entire process across all its different stages.
Okay, so let's unravel Grogan's 8 steps then. Let's see how they translate to our interactions with AI, especially when we're using those more sophisticated functions like Gemini's deep research. This feels like where we get the full life cycle of a successful information quest.
Let's do it, step by step.
So the very first step is first step. O problema, the problem, the visceral gap. What does that actually mean for us as knowledge seekers? How does that relate to our initial thoughts about even using AI in the first place?
Right. Everything begins here, deep inside, often subconsciously, in the mind of the user. It's a knowledge gap, as Grogan calls it, an internal uncertainty, maybe just a vague sense of discomfort or a looming question that you can't quite articulate yet.
That feeling of, I need to know something about.
Exactly. Grogan, drawing on the seminal work of Robert S. Taylor, describes this feeling as visceral. It's entirely internal at this point. A silent monologue happening in your head, I need to understand X, or there's this problem I can't quite get my head around.
Okay, so for me, the AI user.
For you, this is the crucial pre-prompt phase. This is the moment of ideation before you've even typed anything. The key here is to recognize this visceral nature of your own search need. Don't feel pressured to immediately formulate the perfect Kipling-esque prompt right away.
Ah, okay, so it's okay to start fuzzy.
Absolutely. Your very first interaction with the AI at this stage might just be an exploration of this diffuse need. Maybe asking a really broad, open-ended question just to help you clarify your own thoughts. Tell me about, or what are the key aspects of? It's about recognizing what problem you need to solve, even if you don't have the specific information need figured out yet. And importantly, at this visceral stage, it might not even be the right time for a deep research prompt. Maybe just a basic conversational probe to help flesh out the problem itself.
So it's about acknowledging that initial, often fuzzy feeling of not knowing, that kind of intellectual itch you need to scratch. Okay, then we move to second step, a necesidad de información, the information need from abstract to conscious goal. This sounds like the moment things start to become clearer.
Correct. That abstract, visceral problem now starts to consciously transform into a clearer objective. You acknowledge the need to seek specific information to fill that knowledge gap. The intention to actually act, to search, is formed.
Okay, I'm going to do something about this feeling.
Right. Your motivation might vary hugely, of course. It could be simple curiosity, or the urgency of a looming deadline, or needing info for a critical decision. As the philosopher Bertrand Russell shrewdly observed, people don't just seek knowledge often, they seek certainty.
We want to feel sure.
You want to reduce uncertainty. So the fundamental role of information at this stage is to reduce that uncertainty and provide a solid basis for action. For you, the user, this is the moment you open your AI interface with a clear purpose. Your goal now isn't just vaguely investigating possibilities. It's about actively starting to turn that uncertainty into clarity. This is the stage where you fully acknowledge your curiosity, you commit to the search, and you mentally prepare for a focused interaction with the AI.
And that commitment, that conscious goal, leads us directly to third step. The initial question, your imperfect first prompt. This feels like where most of us probably jump in with AI.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is almost certainly where most interactions begin. It's the first verbalization or textualization of your need.
Yeah.
Your initial contact with the AI, what we might call your prompt version 1.0.
V1.0. Probably buggy.
Likely. As Eleanor B. Woodruff, a librarian from way back in 1897, noted even then, this initial question is rarely, if ever, a perfect reflection of the real underlying need. It's almost always, as she put it, vague, ambiguous, incomplete, or generic.
Okay.
Here's the absolutely critical part, the key difference from talking to a skilled human. AI agents lack the empathy, the intuition, the common sense of a human librarian. They won't sense your underlying confusion. They won't read between the lines. They won't intuitively help you refine that initial shaky query.
I just take it literally.
Exactly. Your first prompt will almost certainly be imperfect. For instance, you type, "Tell me about the solar energy market." As we said, that's far too generic. It doesn't tell the AI anything about whether you want historical data, future trends, tech details, specific policies in Brazil, or a global analysis. So the answer it gives has to be broad and superficial.
Right.
The key insight from Grogan here is, Do not generate a deep research report yet with this initial imperfect prompt. Don't waste the resources. Use it as a starting point, a probe, to begin the refinement process.
That makes sense. Don't commit to the big, resource-intensive search until you've clarified the question.
Precisely. This step really highlights that critical difference between human and AI interaction. The AI agent doesn't sense your unspoken needs or confusion. It takes your words literally and only your words. So the responsibility shifts entirely to us, the human users, to bridge that empathy gap by systematically refining our input. We have to be the empathetic, discerning intelligence that guides the machine.
That's a crucial distinction and probably a common pitfall. It's easy to get frustrated with a generic answer, but maybe it's just because our initial question was too generic. Okay, which brings us logically to fourth step, a questão negociada, the negotiated question, the iterative refinement. This sounds like the real heart of the whole reference process, where true understanding gets hammered out.
It truly is, yes. Grogan teaches us that this negotiated question is the absolute essence of reference. It's a collaborative transaction, a back and forth, where that initial, often imprecise question gets systematically refined and clarified through dialogue.
Okay.
There was a pivotal study back in 1976 by Mary Jo Lynch. She found that nearly half, 49% of all library consultations required this negotiation phase to get to the real need. And really strikingly, she found that a lack of effective negotiation was a primary cause of service failure, of users walking away unsatisfied.
Wow, nearly half needed that back and forth.
Yeah. This phase requires sensitivity, insight, and broad general knowledge from the human asking the questions. And Kipling's 6 honest serving men, what, why, who, how, when, where, those are your invaluable tools right here in this negotiation phase. As Grogan so eloquently put it, often the user cannot define what he wants, but he can comment on why he needs it.
That's insightful. They can talk around the need.
Exactly. And that's what you leverage to guide the AI. For you, interacting with AI, this negotiation phase is your iterative process of prompt refinement. It's not about firing off one perfect prompt. It's usually a sequence of prompts, a deliberate dialogue, where you build precision step by step.
Can we trace that solar energy example through this negotiation?
Absolutely. Let's map it out. 1. Prompt 1. Initial question, Grogan step 3. Tell me about the solar energy market. AI gives a broad, generic response.
Okay, too vague.
2. Prompt 2. Negotiation, using Kipling's where and when. Okay, that's a good starting point, thanks, but I need to narrow this down. Now, could you refine your analysis focusing exclusively on the Brazilian residential solar energy market, specifically over the last 2 years? What are the key trends there? AI now provides a much more focused response. Better. Getting closer. 3. Prompt 3. Negotiation using Kipling's why and how. Okay, based on that data about the Brazilian market, I need to understand the practical investment side. Could you create a detailed table comparing installation costs, average return on investment, ROI, and typical payback periods for the 3 main photovoltaic panel technologies currently available for residential use in Brazil?
Now, the AI structures the data for a very specific financial decision-making context.
I see. Each prompt builds on the last response, adding specificity using Kipling's questions. Exactly. This multi-turn dialogue is a true co-production between you and the AI. You're applying Kipling's framework iteratively to move from that generic starting point to surgical precision. And critically, notice you are still not asking for a full, deep research report yet.
Right, still refining the request.
You are meticulously building and refining the perfect prompt that you will eventually use for that deep research. This phase is all about intelligent interrogation and clarification before you commit the big resources.
This is where you really become a detective then, gently but firmly nudging your AI co-pilot towards the real target, adding layers of detail with each turn. It's not about asking the perfect question right away, but asking the right sequence of questions to build up to that perfect, targeted inquiry. Okay, after this rigorous negotiation, we arrive at fifth step. A estratégia de busca, the search strategy, co-creating the plan. This sounds like where we map out the actual game plan for the deep dive.
That's exactly right. With the negotiated question now crystal clear, polished, and precise, the traditional librarian would mentally, or sometimes physically, map out an intellectual plan. They'd select the most appropriate types of sources, books, journals, databases, reports. They might choose specific titles or authors. They define the optimal access points, the best search terms, synonyms, subject headings to use.
That requires a lot of expertise about information sources.
It really does. It demands intimate knowledge of the information landscape, and often an intuition born from years of practice, breaking down complex themes into manageable keywords and concepts. Now, here's a really interesting twist for the AI era. You can actually use the AI itself to help you co-create the search plan.
Use the AI to plan how to use the AI. That's meta.
It is a bit meta, but incredibly powerful. This is an advanced tactic, but think about it. After your internal reflection, Grogan step 1, and maybe some initial conversational prompts to clarify your need, steps 2 to 4, you can ask the AI something like this. Okay, I'm planning to research the adoption of artificial intelligence in logistics within Southeast Asia. To create a really complete in-depth report, what would be the most important categories of information sources I should make sure to cover? For example, should I look at market reports, academic publications, government policy documents, maybe case studies of leading companies in the sector? Also, what are the key terms and synonyms, and perhaps even some influential authors or institutions in this specific field that I should use to deepen my research efficiently?
Wow. So the AI can actually help you brainstorm the structure and keywords for the search itself.
Precisely. Your AI can help structure the search, providing a sophisticated blueprint before you even begin the heavy lifting. But again, notice the pattern. Still don't use the deep research function yet.
Still planning. Optimizing the approach before committing.
Exactly. You're sharpening the axe before you start chopping the tree. You're ensuring your eventual deep research request is as targeted and effective as possible.
Okay, so we've done all this incredibly careful, systematic preparation. We've identified our visceral need. We've refined it through negotiation into a crystal clear question. We've built that super precise prompt using Kipling's wisdom. And we've even used the AI to help us plan the search strategy itself. So when do we finally get to unleash the full power? When do we hit the button for something like Gemini's deep research? That must bring us to sixth step.
Oh, proceso de busca, the search process, time for deep research. The moment of execution has arrived.
Finally, Alex, now you deploy that meticulously crafted, multi-layered prompt using the deep research function in your chosen AI agent, like Gemini. This is the practical execution phase. But it's not passive. It's a dynamic, often nonlinear activity.
What do you mean by dynamic? Well, be prepared for serendipity. That wonderful experience of finding something valuable or useful that you weren't specifically looking for. AI's ability to cross-reference vast data sets can sometimes reveal unexpected connections or insights that can enrich your research.
The happy accident.
The happy accident. But also be aware that with AI, these unexpected discoveries might not always be pleasant. Sometimes the AI might unearth biases hidden in the data, or maybe less than accurate information or conflicting viewpoints that you then have to critically evaluate and reconcile.
So stay critical even during the search.
Absolutely. But the good news is, you are now well prepared. You have your meticulously crafted prompt, born from the wisdom of Kipling and Grogan, to guide this powerful process and keep it focused. Even so, the AI might present connections or subtopics you hadn't initially considered. Don't hesitate to deviate slightly from your initial roadmap if a new avenue looks genuinely promising. Explore it. Use the AI's data processing power dynamically within the search process to test emerging hypotheses quickly. For example, you might ask a follow-up within the deep research context. Okay, analyze the data you just presented in the previous response. Can you identify any correlations between the implementation cost of solar panels and the geographical location of the companies installing them in Brazil? Specifically, note if any regional government policies seem to influence this.
So it's an active, guided search, not just hitting go and waiting passively for the result. You're still interacting.
Exactly. You're steering the ship even as it navigates the deep waters.
Yeah. This is where all that meticulous preparation really pays off then, where you can leverage the AI's immense processing power with incredible precision because you laid the groundwork so carefully. Okay, after that intense search process, we get to seventh step. A resposta, the answer, the high-quality raw draft. This is what the AI actually hands back to us, the report it generated.
Indeed. This is the actual information delivered back to you, the user. In our case, it would be the detailed report that Gemini generates based on our carefully constructed prompt. Ideally, the response should be clear, technically accurate, and laser-focused on solving the specific information needs you articulated, avoiding unnecessary data or extraneous details that would just create more noise and confusion.
And the article gave that example of the manga report.
Yes, the source provides a link to a fantastic example of a Gemini-generated report titled Manga, the queen of fruits in Brazilian dishes, which is presented as a direct output from that combined Kipling-Grogan prompt we developed. Now, here's the absolutely critical takeaway for this step, Alex. You need to understand that this AI-generated report, no matter how good it looks, is essentially a high-quality raw draft.
Raw draft, not the final product.
Not the final product. It's raw material. Your role now shifts. Your job is to verify, validate, contextualize, and edit this response. Check its facts, assess its biases, make sure it truly answers your underlying need, maybe rephrase parts in your own voice. It is not the final solution, but it's a very advanced, incredibly useful starting point for your own work. Think of it like a brilliantly assembled kit of building blocks, but you are still the architect who designs and builds the final structure.
That distinction is absolutely key, isn't it? The AI gives you this incredibly rich raw material, maybe even a well-structured draft, but you are still the architect, the editor, the critical thinker who has to shape it into something truly useful, accurate, and meaningful. And that leads us straight to the final, and you could argue, the most important step, eighth step, a solution. The solution, your final product.
This is perhaps Grogan's most crucial insight, especially for us navigating the AI era. The solution is only achieved when you, the user, confirm that the information provided has genuinely resolved your problem and satisfied your original need. That visceral gap from step one.
And if it hasn't, if the AI's answer, even after deep research, isn't quite right,
Then the process isn't a failure. It simply means you return to step 4, negotiating the question again. You further refine your prompts based on what you learned from the previous output, and you iterate until the true need is met. The solution, Alex, is not the AI's answer. It's the final product you create from it.
my report, my presentation, my decision.
Exactly. Your final report, your insightful article, your compelling presentation, your well-informed business decision. That's the solution. It's the combination of your curation, your critical analysis, your synthesis, and ultimately your application of the knowledge gleaned through the AI-assisted process. If the AI's answer, step 7, doesn't fully satisfy your visceral need, step 1, you haven't failed. You simply restart the refinement cycle at step 4, armed with more knowledge until the true solution is achieved. It profoundly underscores that critical thinking, human discernment, and expert judgment remain absolutely essential even with the most advanced AI assisting us. The AI empowers you massively, but it doesn't and shouldn't replace your intelligence.
So after this really fascinating journey through Kipling's prompt blueprint and Grogan's holistic research map, it just becomes incredibly clear, doesn't it? AI doesn't diminish human expertise at all. If anything, it elevates it. It transforms our role from just being simple searchers into being, well, strategic information architects.
Absolutely. That's a key takeaway. The article firmly reiterates that the intelligent, strategic use of these powerful tools, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever comes next, it doesn't exclude or lessen the importance of the information professional or indeed any skilled knowledge seeker. It profoundly elevates them.
How so?
Because the ability to conduct a deep, structured, intelligent dialogue with AI, using these timeless principles of the reference interview that we've been discussing, that becomes an incredibly valuable, highly effective skill for navigating the sheer informational complexity of the 21st century and beyond. It's a new form of literacy almost.
A new literacy. I like that.
And there are, in fact, crucial phases of this entire Grogan process, where traditional librarianship knowledge and core human cognitive skills are absolutely indispensable, especially in truly understanding those nuanced human information needs, that visceral gap, and structuring inquiries effectively to meet them. You could say AI provides the powerful engine, the brawn, but we provide the intelligence, the steering, the direction.
And at the core of all of this, it really boils down to mastering the art of asking questions, doesn't it? Getting really good at asking.
Fundamentally, yes. Dominating Kipling's what, why, who, how, when, and where, understanding how to apply them effectively in this new digital context, that's what separates getting superficial, generic answers from uncovering truly profound, useful, and actionable knowledge. The reference interview isn't some quaint analog relic to be left behind in dusty old libraries. It's not just relevant. It's proving to be the ideal, perhaps indispensable, partner for artificial intelligence. It's the crucial bridge between raw data and genuine human insight.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means you're not just a passive user of AI. You're its conductor, its skilled guide, its intelligent co-pilot. You hold the keys to unlocking its full transformative potential. Not by just randomly asking questions, but by truly interviewing it, by engaging in that thoughtful, iterative, and strategic dialogue that we've explored today using Kipling and Grogan. This is really how you move from potential frustration to genuine mastery.
It really reinforces the article's core message, that excellence in information search, both now and looking into the future, is fundamentally a co-production. It's a sophisticated human-machine partnership, where human intelligence guides, refines, validates, and extracts the very best that artificial intelligence has to offer.
A co-production, human and machine working together.
Exactly. There's a wonderful quote from Kenneth Whitaker that beautifully encapsulates this enduring truth. The purpose of reference and information service is to allow information to flow efficiently between information sources and those who need information. Without the librarian bringing the source closer to the user, this flow will never exist or will only exist inefficiently.
Wow, that's powerful.
Isn't it? It's a potent reminder of the enduring need for skilled mediation, for that guiding hand. Whether that's a human librarian or, as we've discussed today, a human intelligently guiding an AI. The efficiency and, crucially, the quality of the information flow are directly proportional to the quality of the interview that guides it.
And once you have your meticulously refined AI report, that high-quality raw draft we talked about from Grogan's Step 7, the journey doesn't necessarily end there, does it? The source actually suggests two exciting paths for even further engagement and knowledge creation. It's not just about getting the report, it's about what you do with it.
That's right. It's about building on that foundation. The first path suggested is to create a notebook in Notebook LM. For listeners who might not be familiar, Notebook LM is essentially a research assistant tool from Google. It allows you to upload documents like your freshly generated AI report, and then you can ask questions about your own ideas in relation to that content. You can interact with your report, summarize it, ask it to find connections. Essentially, you turn your report into your own specialized expert on that specific topic. It becomes a dynamic, personalized knowledge base you can interrogate further.
Okay, so you turn the output into an interactive resource. What's the second path?
The second path is even more generative. Create another specialized AI agent. You can take all the rich, verified information you've generated through your structured deep dive, following Grogan's steps and validating the AI's output, and use that curated knowledge to create an entirely new AI agent that is specifically trained and specialized in that particular subject matter.
Wow, like building your own custom expert AI.
Exactly. And this new, highly informed agent could then, for example, generate a succinct briefing document for a human writer who needs to get up to speed quickly. Or you could even potentially brief another specialized writing agent, further automating parts of the knowledge creation process into more sophisticated workflows.
That really brings us full circle, doesn't it?
It does. Because the ultimate goal here isn't just to get an answer from the AI, it's to build knowledge that is deeply understood, thoroughly verified, contextualized, and ready to be applied or developed further. The AI, when guided by your skilled reference interview techniques, becomes this incredibly powerful building block for creating even more sophisticated information systems. Whether that's simply your own enhanced personal knowledge base, a key project document, or indeed a brand new expert AI agent, it really underscores that knowledge is most valuable when it's truly understood and applied. And this human-AI partnership, when done right, makes that understanding and application profoundly more powerful and efficient than ever before. Hashtag tag outro.
And that wraps up our deep dive for today. We've taken quite a journey, haven't we, through the timeless wisdom of librarianship, discovering how the reference interview, guided by these powerful, almost ancient frameworks like Kipling's 6 Honest Serving Men and Grogan's 8 Steps of the Information-Seeking Journey, really is your ultimate toolkit. It's how you can transform those sometimes vague, maybe frustrating AI prompts into precise, powerful research requests that actually yield exactly what you need. Hopefully, you've learned how to better identify your true information need, how to construct a really robust, multi-layered prompt, and how to navigate that crucial iterative process of refining AI output into a genuine, actionable solution.
You really do now have the knowledge and hopefully the framework to move beyond simply asking AI questions and into the realm of actively co-producing deep, meaningful insights with these tools. You're not just a user of technology anymore. You're becoming a strategic information architect, armed with these powerful, time-tested techniques that effectively bridge the gap between innate human curiosity and the vast, sometimes overwhelming power of artificial intelligence.
It really feels like, in a world that's practically drowning in data, where almost everyone has access to incredibly powerful AI, the true advantage, the real edge, won't be in simply having the tools. It'll be in mastering the art of asking that fundamental human skill that truly unlocks and liberates the machine's potential.
Well said.
So, the question we leave you with is this: how will you apply these ancient yet new techniques to transform your next deep dive with AI? And perhaps more excitingly, what truly profound questions will you finally be able to answer with unparalleled precision? Now that you have a better map for the journey, we genuinely can't wait to see what you discover.